I always outline with the 3-act structure, always. It's like my comfort zone. But I have been reading Romancing the Beat by Gwen. And today I want to try using her romance-specific beat sheet to outline an idea that popped in my mind while I was working on my work in progress. Redundancy. But I was working on my work in progress. I was writing a wedding and I thought, who are these people, right? So that's what we're going to do today. And I'm going to show you while I fill this beat sheet live in my computer. Hi, I'm Jessica. I read and write romance, and this week I wanted to try something a little bit more hands-on than just craft theories. So this week I am going to outline a story live using a structure I don't normally use, and because I'm trying to see if it changes the way I think about romance beats, and I want to see if, and by all means, this isn't me saying that the 3-act structure doesn't work anymore for me. No, that's a lie. I love the 3-act structure, but this is me experimenting, testing. What I want to know is if romancing the beat actually helps me build the romance on the page more intentionally, and especially the emotional arc and the heat that I'm looking to integrate into the story. So here's the new idea. It's rugby, because it's tied to my work in progress. And this one, since it's a prequel, then it's going to be when these characters are in college. So think campus couple dynamics, a couple that looks very stereotypical until you put them under pressure. So let's see what happens there. In my mind, he's tall, dark, and handsome, and he's very strict and stern, and she is the opposite. She is a blonde, bubbly, happy. So let's see what happens. What I like specifically about this romance beat sheet is that it's built with romance as a purpose. So technically it forces you to build attraction, to build intimacy. It's built around the romance beats. So you're kind of forced to use the emotional turning points as in a way that the 3-act structure doesn't necessarily force you to when you're writing romance, because the 3-act structure can be applied to any type of story really, while this one is specifically designed for romance writing. So I want to see if this works better for me. And full disclaimer, I am not an expert on this. I am mid-read, and specifically I just passed page 49, which is the Midpoint of Love. So I am going to be working out of PDF that she has on her website. So I'm not nearly as knowledgeable as about this as I should be with doing an experiment, but we're gonna do it anyways. So let's get started, shall we? Alright, so this is Gwen Romancing the Beat structure, which I got from her book, Romancing the Beat, Story Structure for Romance Novels. And okay, so what we are going to do is that I'm going to fill this up with the idea that has been swirling in my mind since last week. So to give you a little bit more context, I'm writing a work in progress. It's tentatively called Fair Game. And on chapter 15, if I remember correctly, there was a wedding. And this wedding, these characters are absolutely irrelevant in the plot of that story. But I don't know, they kept with me. So yeah, now I have a prequel in mind. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So what I am going to do is that I am going to fill this sheet with all the information that I need according to Romancing the Beat. I'm not going to go too in depth because that's a work that takes me hours, sometimes days, but I want to get like the basics in here. So let's start with the phase 1, which is where we introduce H1 and H2, which I assume it's hero 1 and 2. It's like that in the book because it doesn't have a gender. So yeah, this could be a queer story. This could be whatever genre of romance you want. And it will work according to Gwen. I don't know. I haven't used it. So let's do it. And okay, so I was playing with some names and I decided that my male protagonist, my male main character, is going to be named Mason. And his name is Mason, what was it? Mason Sterling. Yes, that was it. He is a senior varsity club, rugby club captain figure. And he plays number 6. Number 6, which if I remember correctly is blindside, flankers, and he's nicknamed the Mace. Why? I don't know. I just thought that it sounded funny. Character's slice of life would throw a hitch in it. Okay, let me think about it. He runs his life like he runs his team. Disciplined, strict, stern, you know the guy. But in my mind, I already have like this figured out in my mind. So the thing is, he has trauma. So yeah, the smallest mess can become a trigger for him because of that trauma. Especially, you know what? Especially if it has some sort of media visibility. Okay. Character's external goal, that would be win whatever games they have, win the season. Protect his and his team's image and stay scout ready. And graduate. And his need, okay, he has a need for control of the narrative. He doesn't want to be pictured, or he doesn't want to be portrayed as the villain. I know this, he is still living inside a breakup narrative he didn't get to write. That's the trauma. Now, our female main character, her name is Maisie. Maisie, I think it was Grant, and she is the complete opposite. She is bubbly. She is bubbly, happy. She is a campus influencer. She is also a sorority member. But in fact, I actually had the idea that she's a sorority philanthropy leader. She is blonde, and I already wrote bubbly. She is blonde, blue-eyed, innocent looking, like a cherub. I don't know how to pronounce that word, but you know that she looks like everybody loves her. She is the epitome of stereotypical blonde bimbo. What a horrible stereotype. But it works for this story. I don't know if I will ever write this. I don't know. I'm procrastinating. Anyway, so the slice of life for her is philanthropy week. Why do I keep writing philanthropy wrong? I don't know. It has real stakes. It's not a hobby. She is using this to build her portfolio. I haven't decided what her major in college is, but I know that she is taking this very seriously. Her external goal is pull off a high visibility event. High visibility, high revenue event, and own the win. She wants people to take her seriously. This is what she needs. She wants public respect, not toleration. Is that even a word? She hides behind of her cute facade because it works, but she hates that it works. Okay, so yeah, these are my two main characters. I love that their names are similar. It came to me in a dream, guys. I swear. So, okay, the meet cute. They meet for the first time on page, and we're supposed to make it memorable because this is a story that they will share with their grandkids one day. Okay, so I had this idea that They are going to you know what, I'm going to make bullet points. Meet when Mason is informed by Greek life and athletics that rugby has been paired with the sorority for philanthropy week. But this first meet is going to happen before that meeting, and she's gonna crash into him and drop her iced coffee all over him. Her reflex is to go all sweet and apologetic and helpless because it's worked in the past, and it's her, what's the word, when something is like your baseline default shield. But Mason clocks it. Like, the accident is real, but her persona is fake. Not fake, practiced. So the reader's takeaway here: she's not fragile, he's not immune, they both know it. You know what? What do I want? I want a little, but not here, Jesus, a physical moment where he stays her for a second and then grabs his hands. It reads like restraint. Like restraint is muscle memory. Like he knows. Let me see if I can use this. Yes, thank you. So like he knows that he shouldn't be attracted. Okay. So another thing that I want is that he remembers her from class. They share a class, but they had never interacted before this moment. Okay, so that's it. Now the no way. The no way is the argument that the character voices against falling in love. It sets up the romance arc for the reader. The character basically says, either out loud or in internal dialogue, that the reason that he or she will not fall in love is whatever it is. Not now, not ever, but especially with the character from the meet cute. So that is going to be, you know what? I forgot something. It's in the book, but I don't know why it wasn't in this format, but it's called, what was it? Adhesive Incident. And the adhesive incident, it is part of the structure that forces an event that forces repeated contact, which we already know is going to be this. Mason is informed by Greek life and athletics that rugby has been paired with the sorority for philanthropy week. I don't know what the sorority name is, so, but yeah, that's the adhesive incident. He is the liaison. Mason is the, is that how you spell it? Yes. Because he is the rugby team captain. And Maisie is, she is the philanthropy leader. I don't know. I have to research this, guys. I don't have it all clear. Anyways, what is the no way? For Mason's no way. He has rules for himself. Not during season, not dating during season, not dating with anyone who is, what's the expression? Who has visibility, who is a public figure, let's say. And let's use, I don't know what the correct expression would be for that. Anyway, who is a public figure, not, oh, right, I haven't told you why. Because the thing is that not after his publicly visible breakup with a girl who was essentially campus royalty, and she cast him as the villain in the story. So that's why he is so scared of relationships. It's not like he doesn't like women or anything, it's that he has trauma. Maisie's no way. I don't know that she has a no way. I don't think that she does. Actually, in my mind, she is the one pursuing Mason. She is relentless and he should be scared. Okay, so phase 2 now. Phase 2 is there's a reiteration of no way, and it restates the argument against love. Then we have Inkling of Desire. Sorry, I'm fixing this as we go. So Inkling of Desire is when the plot or your story begins attacking the character's false belief about what he or she stated in No Way Beat 1 or No Way Beat 2. So here in No Way 2, well, we already know what is going to happen there. Mason is going to reiterate his boundaries. So Mason reiterates the boundary once they paired for philanthropy week and realizes that they share a class. So for him, it's keep it professional and distant. Don't fuel the gossip mill. And for I think that the pressure increases here because he's already paying attention to her like she's a potential issue, but a potential issue that he wants to solve with his mouth because she's hot. Anyways, which is one of her problems. Yes, some women have a problem because they are too pretty. That's a thing. So why am I adding this? Because this thing is called Romancing the Beat, guys. This is not a run-of-the-mill cozy mystery or anything. This has to have romance. So we need to add inklings of attraction from the beginning. And I don't write young adult, so I am not going to have a pair of people that are just looking at each other for 200 pages. So yeah, that's gonna happen. Anyway, Inkling of Desire. This is, like I said, where we begin attacking the false beliefs. So what is going to happen here? I have the idea that Maisie is competent. Like, she's smart, and in class she contributes like a strategist. I had the idea that they are doing like a sports marketing class, which sounds like reasonable for him to take because maybe he's doing sports administration or something like that as major. So this would make sense for him. And marketing makes sense for her because she's an influencer, so she wants to build her brand and grow from there. So she contributes like a strategist. She is not dumb, after all, and Mason is impressed. She flirts. What mistake did I make here? Why is this translating? A lot, shamelessly. He refuses to play, but she's hot and his body gives him away. Let's just say that. There is, okay, I thought about something else, which is because, yeah, she likes him, but beyond the physical, is there anything else? So I thought, if she's a blonde bimbo, then someone implies that she gets her scores or her results, or people give her stuff just because she's pretty. And Mason shuts that shit down. And yeah, because I have a high respect for professors, the professor intervenes and class continues. And then there's a micro intimacy event after class. And I think that she feels back and it hits hard. She thanks him, and it's like he makes it clear that he won't tolerate disrespect towards anyone, especially her. Why? Who knows? So she's left like, what? Anyway, I have thoughts, but this is helping me get things clear. Okay, so the next stage is Deepening Desire, and they are starting to show each other glimpses of who they really are. Maybe this could work is the next stage. I don't know why I'm doing this. Anyway, I forgot, or I didn't realize. Okay, so Deepening Desire, what happens here? Let's say, okay, so because they are forced to work together, then there's forced proximity that allows them to get to know each other. And this comes in the form of late night planning, driving for supplies, right? That's called supply runs, right? What else? Logistics, etc. Sexual tension. In fact, wait, because at this stage is unresolved sexual tension. If any of you was in the fanfic environment in 2013, you must remember the letters USD in all fanfic tags. Anyway, so romance escalates. How? Accidental touches that aren't accidental, private language and jokes, and the thing that he did, he helps without making it a favor. And this is intimacy for Maisie, who is so used to being taken for granted. Glimpses of real selves and her cute slips when she's tired. She shows her cranky self. He takes her seriously. And maybe he reveals that he's always looking for, what would I call this, narrative threats? And she realizes that he's, what's the expression for that? Like when you're getting ready to receive a hit. Braced for impact, I think it is. Anyway, these three go like this. Okay. Then we have this beat. Maybe this could work. Maybe this could work is what if they gave in to that temptation and the characters begin to question their old thoughts. So this is essentially the temptation beat and the moment where they start questioning their old thoughts or their no ways. And I'm thinking that this is where sexy times are going to happen. I'm not going to give you too many details of that, but the purpose of this beat will be to make flirtation irreversible, and things get physical in this beat. I don't know how the setup is going to be. I just know that things are gonna happen. Consent, because it's important. And things escalate because she keeps choosing him and he relents and stops pretending he can hold the line. He's just one man. Then there's new tension because this chemistry is now proven. So his no way is tested. Okay, I think that I can build something out of this. Sure I can. Midpoint of Love is the next bit, and this is the bit where you show them everything they want and it's in reach, but it's a false high. Okay, so this is where they think that things will actually work for them. This is where everything you want is on the other side of fear. And for Maisie, what she wants is respect that is public. So at the biggest event, at the philanthropy, probably at the results meeting or something like that, something is going to happen. So, okay, so let's see. Let me think. Philanthropy week. There, because Maisie, what she wants is public respect. Someone dismisses Maisie as just that influencer girl or something like that. But Mason is going to credit her publicly for her work with specifics. He's got proof of her work. Then, okay, so that hits her need and she drops her mask and admits that being, how do I say that? That being reduced, maybe, cost her. Gives her the respect and the attention she needs, and it makes her feel wanted. Maybe another physical scene. Maybe, I don't know. This is, I think, this reads like a novella instead of a full-length novel. Anyways, retreating for, okay, so now we are getting into the catastrophic part of the romance arc. Okay, so midpoint of love, things are going well, but it is a false high. So now, during the phase 3, retreating from love, the inkling of doubt is when you go back to your no way and they start, rethinking things and asking themselves if this is really worth it. And we plant doubt. And, well, of course, it says doubt right here, but we plant bombs, let's say, that will explode a little bit later. So what will happen here? They have to start questioning what's happening. And in his case, because we said that his no way is, where was it? Here. No dating during the season. No dating with anyone who is a public figure, etc. So, and the thing that he fears is being turned into a spectacle in front of an audience. So what's happening here is that she is the head of the philanthropy week, the leader of the philanthropy week. So she is highly visible. So we are going to say that there is a narrative rift. And Chatter turns it into Maisie bagging the captain, the rugby captain, instead of the work they have put building the event. That's one. I had the idea that the X resurfaces here. Mason's ex girlfriend resurfaces. What else? Tied to this narrative drift, actually it's tied to both, I think. Interpretation or misinterpretation spreads, because this girl, she's not nice. I had the idea that she's a student, athlete, and she's campus royalty. And outwardly, she is all things nice, but she cheated on him. If you could listen, my husband is talking about, I don't know, video games in the other room, and it's loud. So if you can hear him in this video, sorry. Anyways, so this girl starts spreading well-meaning comments. Spreading is not the right word. Let's say dropping. Well-meaning comments that get people reading between the lines, which brings back the old breakup narrative and paint Mason as a bad guy of sorts. What comments? Things like, at least he's showing up. Or, he's so sweet. Maisie's so sweet. I hope she is okay, or something like that. Things that sound innocuous, but aren't. I love autocorrect sometimes, don't you guys? Deepening doubt. The intimacy is continuing or may even appear to be growing, but the seed of doubt you planted in the last bit just poked up through the ground. So here's when the things start really unraveling. So what happens here is they are possibly, most likely, they're having sex on the regular, let's say. Let's change this. Let's say that intimacy continues, but fear grows and festers under it. Mason feels exposed. He remembers how fast people decided the truth for last time. Keep in mind, these people don't have a name for what they are yet. So that's another layer to think about. What else? Maisie, on the other hand, feels like her credibility is being chipped away by gossip. It makes her angry because she has earned this opportunity and it wasn't handed to her. So it's unfair. Shift in behavior. Mason pulls back publicly to reduce evidence. But what this does is anger Maisie or upset, because she is suddenly lacking his support. So she refuses to shrink, I think. I think that this is what she would do. And keeps performing bright and bubbly in public while she falls apart in private. Though fall apart, this sounds like too harsh. This guy I mean, girl, like what, 2 weeks? We'll have to think about this. So, unravels. Unravels. That's a better word. Yeah, because, yeah, both of them start thinking, each in their own way, that the other might not be able to handle whatever is happening. Both think the other is not really into it. So they take, yeah, both think the other is not really into this. So they take steps to protect themselves. And then comes the retreat beat. The retreat beat is one where you leave subtext behind and let them actually say things, either in internal or external dialogue, what they fear and that they are going to protect their hearts. So this is where the previous step was leading. So fear stated plainly. For Mason is scared of being rewritten as the villain again. And he also fears he will drag her down with him. So not only he fears for himself, he fears for her. So, yeah. And then Maisie, she... How do I say this? Guys, it's a problem to think in two languages. Maisie fears being treated like a liability or as a risk to be managed. I think that's a good way to put it. So, what are their actions? Retreat actions. Mason goes overly professional. Maisie stops offering softness. She goes cold B. You know what the B stands for. And this is the beat where you can feel the relationship cooling. So, can we meet tonight for whatever? No, I'm busy. Or whatever. So that's what's going to happen. Then we have shields up. Whatever they foretold in their no way beats comes true. The no way beat. I don't believe in love. I will never love again. I don't deserve love because love makes me the villain in public. This is exactly what is going to happen to him. Shields up beat. I knew better than to believe in love or love again or think I deserve love because when I let my guard down, this happens. So this is exactly what is going to happen. The no way prophecy comes true. Mason tightens control. He distances himself and takes unilateral decisions that affect Maisie. Maisie locks herself behind pride. Because she's not going to let the narrative drag her down. So her mask of bubbliness returns harder. And she becomes hyper-focused and competent. Which is interesting because that will show people that she can do things without other people's support. So I think that's growth for her, but growth born out of anger, maybe. And what this caused on the Roman side, the cost for the Romans arc, is that their private world disappears. And the physical ease disappears. And the trust disappears. And then we have the next beat, which is the breakup. There are a lot of people nowadays that say that they don't like, oh no, I don't like third act breakup. Have they never been in a relationship themselves? Those things happen. I know that when we read, we sometimes want to escape reality, but I don't know. Like, oh no, I don't read anything that has a third act breakup. Like, girl, girl, come on. Anyway, breakup. This is when you have the black moment, and it's tied to the moment when the heroes choose to hold on to their fears or flaws or their misbeliefs instead of opening their hearts. So here, I think that this is not, I'm undecided because I'm veering between making it highly public, which is exactly what Mason deserves, or make it private and hurt Maisie more. But I think I want to hurt Mason more. So the Raptor, not Raptor, Raptor. Highest stakes philanthropy week moment. Philanthropy week moment. This will be like the final count or the final reveal of the donations or something. And here, Mason will panic somehow and override Maisie publicly, causing problems for the event. And of course, Maisie's gonna be pissed. And I had this line when I thought about this story, when I thought about this plot, I had this line in mind. Of all the people, it had to be you. Thank you, really, for showing me what you really think about me. And this is like, knife to the heart for both of them, because he did something that hurt her image and her credibility because he couldn't get rid of his issues. So from this point on, separation. There's a clean break, no flirt, no access, no nothing. She cuts him off completely. And that's when he loses her. And he realizes that he effed it up in the Dark Knight moment. The Dark Knight is the beat where your heroes think they should feel better than they do about the stupid thing that they just did. But suddenly they are staring out windows while montages of Phase 2 play across their minds. This is the moment where they realize they effed up and they are beating themselves down for that. So what happens here is, Mason realizes that he himself let the narrative drift, because instead of claiming it, he let other people shape it. And that's something that he should have learned in that marketing class that he was taking. What else? He realizes he broke her trust and understands that he treated her like a risk to be managed, which is something she had already told him she feared. So he weaponized her fear out of his fear. And this is going to be, I think, a very heavy, internal monologue heavy chapter. Then the wake up beat. This beat is where they say, I choose love over fear. I have been an idiot and I need to fix this. And what happens here? Let's see. Okay, so choice. Obviously. Love over fear. Truth over public narrative. And decision. He needs to do something to correct the record. So he needs to correct the record. Respect. Show her respect. And stop making her pay for his traumas. Okay. I don't know how to do this, but this is what he needs to do. I don't know how that's going to look like, but yeah. The grand gesture is the next one. He or she must be willing to put it all on the line now or risk losing the one thing they need to become wholehearted. It's life or death now. Wow, okay. Dramatic much. Anyways, a grand gesture. I think that his grand gesture needs to be tied to his no way, which needs to be public. So I think that during the final event that is the most publicized or streamed or whatever, but he's going to say something like, this week happened because of Maisie Grant. I got in her way once and overstepped because I panicked. I won't do it again. And then he needs to step back and give her the floor so she can do her thing. So he's going to publicly, essentially, he's going to publicly admit he effed up and be accountable for it and apologize. And is that a big enough gesture? I don't know. Anyway, either Maisie accepts it or not. This is a romance story and this needs to have a happily ever after. So Maisie accepts, but she puts her own boundaries in place. Like, if you do that again, I don't know what she'll do. Whoa, that's not what I wanted to do. If you do that again, no, I don't think that this would be the boundary. I think that it would be, you need to talk to me, especially if you panic and you're going to do something that affects me. You don't override me. You don't risk manage me. So yeah, I think that those are her boundaries. And regarding the ex, I think Mason tells her that she needs to stay the F away from him, and she doesn't get to rewrite history anymore. Yeah, okay. Now we have the next beat before the epilogue, what wholehearted looks like. And this is, they kiss and made up in the last beat, but show your reader what wholehearted looks like for these two. You've put them through the ringer. This is your chance to make it up to them. This is a light story, okay? This is not very high stakes. This is college people falling in love. They may or may not continue together after this. I mean, they do, because this happens in my mind when they are like 21, 22 years old, and they are getting married like 5 years later. So they did stay together, but this is a low stakes story, so we don't beat ourselves too much on this. Okay, so on this beat, what we need to show is the new normal. So they're publicly dating, but they don't make a show of it. So they are not a media circus. Visibility. Maisie is still an influencer and maybe makes a living out of it, but she doesn't use him for content unless she's building him up on game days. Conflict gets resolved with honesty first, strategy second. Both agree that media is a tool, not a verdict. I have a problem with the word verdict. I think it's missing an E, like after the R, because in Spanish it's veredicto. Anyways, there is probably, this is where we show how their life looks like now. And then there can be an intimate scene here, but it's not necessary. I mean, depends whether you feel like it or not. Anyway, that's it. Then you have the epilogue. It's up to you, a master at your craft, to manage a scene with little conflict that is still intriguing. So here, I already had the idea that because this story was born from my current work in progress, then here we have a series bridge, and this is where Mason gets scouted for the team in fair game. And the closing image, that's actually the first thing that I thought of. Maisie says, wait, like that, yeah. Maisie says, I made a decision. I'm gonna marry you one day. And then he says, oh yeah? Do I get any say in it? And then she says, nope. And that's it. The epilogue is complete. The end. That's it. That's where we bridge into fair game. And we close on that inevitable vibe that they are going to live happily ever after. And she's still the pursuer, and he's still pretending he has a choice. Okay, that's the experiment. This structure actually forced me to build the romance turns on purpose. I'm thinking that to compare, I should use this same premise and use the 3-act structure just to see how the beats stack and compare to each other. But yeah, we have a full romance plot built using romancing the beat. So yeah, if your story feels like it's just vibes and it might be dragging, maybe this could be an option for you. I don't know that it is so different for me because I already had pretty much like the whole idea in my mind, but it was helpful to see it on the paper. So there's that. That's it for today. If this was helpful, leave me a thumbs up and subscribe, and tell me in the comments if you have ever used Romancing the Beat worksheet. I don't know that I will continue using it because I am very used to the 3-act structure, but it was definitely a good experiment and I can see the benefits. That's it. Let me know in the comments and I'll see you next time. Bye!